When people find out I've had psychic visions at times since being a toddler, they often want me to teach them how to open their mind's eye so they can become psychic. I often hear things like, I wish I had experiences like you, and I wish I could see things. Though, as a small child, I suffered pre-PTSD from seeing and feeling into much of my life ahead and seeing the pain I would suffer growing up in a society that failed to hold space for these things. We do need to be careful what we wish for. As an empathic therapist, I find, for many people I work with, that the more they ground within their bodies that they are currently incarnating within, the more they have grounded abilities of response for becoming more conscious. I believe our spirits are already coming from the realms of spirit into the earth realm to incarnate within the physicality we're learning to embody within. It makes no sense to me to suddenly go backwards within our attempts of embodiment to try to achieve things we already have abilities for that we may have not yet comprehended clearly. We are from the realms of spirit. We have the knowledge of the realms of spirit within us. If reincarnation is real, which many of us seem to have memories of, then I believe as we incarnate into this period of time, we are actually re-experiencing those past lives that either will benefit us or that there is trauma we need to work through, to be benefited by as we are recycling through dimensional spaces of times once again. I believe a portion of the totality of our spirit is coming from our souls, which are beyond the space of time, and we are emanating, vibrating, for some wildly vacillating through spaces of time, to our current incarnations, positioning within this current time period of space on Earth. That's a lot of words. Some say there is no such thing as time, or time is a figment of the imagination. Though, does Earth and its seasons still exist even if the human race is not on the planet? I don't believe the Earth is a figment of the imagination of humans. I believe the Earth exists regardless of humans. I also believe trees make a sound when they fall in a forest, regardless of someone being around to hear it. What if our souls are beyond the space of time? What if, for some, what we refer to as people, their spirits, are attached to places, spaces, objects within times of space, and thus are then defocused on where they actually are and where they're coming from to begin with? If one is unconsciously attached to a space of time, it becomes harder to be spiritually conscious within that time and the dimensionality of one's being that is beyond the concept of individual personhood. As one gets lost in their attachments of projected personhood, then as well they risk being subjugated to their own projections of self. What if this is what overcoming the self, transcending the self, means? What if this is truly an aspect of what it means to be selfless? If a person fails to be conscious of their spirit, and thus only mentally conscious within the framework of their current incarnation's abilities of response or reactionary nature, as opposed to spiritually conscious, they subjugate their consciousness to their current placement within the space of time they are attached to. What if parts of our spirit emanates from our souls, which is beyond the space of time, and as our spirit moves through spaces of time to get to the current space of our incarnation we experience, we have connections to those other time periods of our spirit's previous incarnations. Thus it seems like all our lives, our incarnations, are happening at once, as some would say. If our souls are beyond the space of time, possibly even our spirits coming through the portal of the sun, let's say, to incarnate within a body we are manifesting with our chosen parents, we would be intimately connected deep within to our soul in all those time periods of experiences of lives. If our souls are beyond the space of time and thus not subject to or subjugated by time itself, then our souls would have awareness, spiritual consciousness, and connections to all the spaces of time we are incarnating and passing through. So it is our souls that are beyond the space of time and thus higher dimensionally not subject to the confines and rules of the dimensions of time. Some say our soul is within our physical body. Some say our spirit and our soul are the same thing. What if our soul is like a vessel, a multidimensional container with the vibrational energies of spirit abilities that can incarnate and embody into the physical dimension of Earth to play out these life dramas, to experience abilities of learnings and seeing dimensionally? So, if this is the case, while the soul isn't fully in the physical container of the body, but rather the body is an extended vehicle for the spirit and thus the soul to experience from, the body isn't what is in charge, but rather the soul, through the spirit, is the one leading the way. If all this is true, or even portions of it, then as humanity de-threads from the convoluted natures of its originations, there will naturally be epic shifts within the collective consciousness of the masses of humanity, and the species will evolve beyond its projections of self. Please consider letting me know your thoughts and comments on these things in the comment section of this video. Of course, any rudeness in comments will result in those profiles and channels being hidden from view. Kindness matters. I hope you enjoy and gain from this online project of mine. It means a lot to me to build this platform, to create a place for people that may think they're alone, that may not realize that they have abilities that they actually have even. Sometimes when I speak and discuss things with people, after a little while they realize that some of the things I discuss are things that they actually experience, but they've never had the words to be able to bring forth to make sense of it enough to themselves to realize how unique they actually are. I've had people that have told me that they thought for periods of their life they were crazy because of some of the experiences that they had. And after speaking with me for a little bit, they realized that they had certain abilities that they didn't have a context for, that they didn't have people around them to help hold space for them, in learning to make sense of it, learn to let go of any crazy components, so to speak, and shake out all that so that they can actually get to the seriousness and find groundedness in it. When you you're working on becoming more spiritually conscious, it's important to really work on your grounding. That's something that I plan on working on creating in this process to help people.